Hi everyone. Some of you know Ashby. We were brought together when she was just a little kitten. Well, she's 18 years old now, and she is a lot of work. She is one geriatric cat. She's got diabetes, a heart murmur, a hyperthyroid, a bad pancreas, and 1 year ago she was diagnosed with a deadly tumor in her throat, cancerous tumor. My vet said she would maybe last until January, possibly March at the latest of 2020. But here we are, and she's still going. She is one tough cat. Even though 1 year ago she could not barely swallow any food, she couldn't groom herself, I could tell that this cat was not ready to give up. She still had fight left in her. So I decided to do everything in my power to give her the best quality life possible in her senior years. So I'm going to show you what's involved with that, to keeping her going strong and giving her quality life as a senior geriatric cat. Okay, Ashby, you want your water? Good girl. First thing in the morning, ice water cat. So her food needs to be blended up because of the tumor in her throat. So I take her wet food and add water to it and then put it in the food processor. So Ashby gets the grain-free dry food, the good stuff. Dry food time. Morning dry food time. She gets her insulin twice a day, in the morning and the evening. So grooming is essential to your cat's overall well-being in their senior years. For Ashby, I use 3 different grooming brushes. This one I call the torture brush. And then of course you got the comb. This is really good for keeping the mats out. And then we got the soft brush. So I'll show you a couple techniques on how we keep her well and groomed. First I use the torture brush. I know, Ashby. You know, we're working on this together. It's a little hard work for both of us, but we're both getting better at it. So I do this one for about 15 minutes. And then when I'm done that one, I switch over to the comb. The comb is great for keeping the mats out. I mean, all the brushing is, but the comb is really essential for that. And finally, I wrap up with the horse brush. The whole brushing process takes me probably about 35, 40 minutes. So then I have to make sure to get underneath of her. And this part is challenging. It is definitely challenging, but we've been working on this together for a long time. And once I get her on her side, I can get her belly, I can get underneath her legs and all the critical spots she can't get to on her own. And when I'm done the grooming, she feels like $1 million. I'm telling you, this cat feels 20 times better. So then comes the cleaning of the ears. So she gets methimazole every morning and evening on her ears for her hyperthyroid condition. So I have to do a lot of work to keep her ears good and clean. That makes her feel 100% better as well. She gets her insulin and methimazole twice a day, every 12 hours apart. So I use this calendar here to be as accurate as possible. For the first 15 years of Ashby's life, she ate primarily dry food because that's what the vets had recommended to me. In Florida, I took her to see a vet about some skin tags she had accumulating all over her body. And he said, well, I can go ahead and burn them off for a couple $1,000s. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So I ended up moving back to Maryland and took her to the vet I'm seeing now. And he said the first thing we have to do is change her diet and put her on wet food. So I did that, and after a couple of months, the skin tags, they disappeared completely. Her fur became softer than it was since she was a kitten, and she felt great all around. So I've kept her on that ever since then. Now, she does have to have some dry food at this point because that's just how it is. It's the geriatric cat she is now. But I found out the hard way that you want to have your cat on wet food primarily, not dry food. This cat drinks enough water for about 5 cats, and it is quite difficult to keep it under control at this point in her life. She never had any litter box issues up until she was about 15, but in recent years it has become challenging to make sure she uses it all the time. I've had it under control for the most part simply by changing my behavior to adapt to her behavior, but recently it's getting more and more difficult by the day. So I want to show you a couple things I do to keep that in check best I can. If she has an accident outside the litter box, the key is to get to it right away and clean it up and make sure she doesn't go there again. So one of the ways I do that is after I clean it, I use these cans. They're air cans with a motion sensor on it. And if I put the can in that same spot, when she goes back there, it blows out the air and she goes away. And usually I don't have any problems. She just ends up using the litter box. So I've got 3 of these cans and I've been using them the past couple years and they're very effective. The best stuff on the market I've found is this Nature's Miracle. This stuff really works. It gets rid of the smell completely. You just have to follow the instructions. And then I also have No More Spray after it's cleaned up. I don't know if this works that great, but this is definitely a winner. So this is a must-have if you have a cat and the cat's getting old. She likes to stand inside this litter box and hang her butt out that lip in the front and sometimes pee on the floor. It drives me nuts because they don't make litter boxes with high sides without that dip in it to get in. When she has accidents outside the litter box, thank God they've usually been on the tile in the bathroom for the most part. The past couple days, she's picking one spot in particular near the shower, and this is new, so I'm worried right now because I put so much work into caring for her, but it's like at this point, I don't know what else I can do. I was very fortunate to have Ashby see, in my opinion, the best vet in the entire world in Annapolis. He has done so much to work with me through all her different conditions, changing up her medication doses, calling me countless times, doesn't even charge me for the phone calls. He's been amazing. Without him, I couldn't have got as far as I have with her, so I'm very blessed to have gotten the best vet in the world. When you adopt an animal, or if you have a kid for that matter, this is something you are taking on for life, okay? It's something you take on until the day they die or the day you die. And when I adopted Ashby, I had no idea 18 years ago what I was getting myself into. And what I've gone through in the past year, particularly, has changed me more than anything's ever changed me in my life for the most part. It's been an unbelievable amount of work. But it's been very positive change. It's been good change, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But at this point, after what I've gone through with Ashby, I don't know if I could ever adopt another animal again. I don't know. But it's very important that we get the message out to everybody. If you adopt an animal, this is something you're taking on for life. And when that time comes, when the animal gets old, you have to do everything in your power to care for it. You can't just give up at the first sign of, oh no, it's going to take me 2 hours a day to take care of this animal. It should not work that way. Unfortunately, we live in a society where it does work that way. So my message is, animals are pure. They don't have evil in them. They're not full of sin. And when you adopt an animal, you've got to do everything in your power to give that animal the best quality of life possible. And that means at some point you're going to have to do an extraordinary amount of work. So I just hope anybody that's thinking about getting an animal, watches this video and weighs that into their decision of getting a pet, is what you're going to have to do when that time comes, when the animal becomes geriatric, because that very well will happen. She is one happy cat. What really matters in life to me is how we treat other human beings and animals around us, especially the most vulnerable, the seniors and the infants. So I'm trying to send a message of love and kindness. We need a lot more of that in the world right now. With so much evil happening, I just want to see a lot more love spread. So let's try to destroy the evil, and let's try to do it through sending the message of love.